his 11 years in the talent acquisition space. He's looked at over 1 million resumes. If you break that down, it's more than 100,000 resumes a year, and that's over 50 resumes a day. I think that's the way the math works out there. Anyway, Nick is an expert in resume reviewing, so today we're going to talk about the things that you should and should not include on there. Nick, can we talk just first about the things that we should not include on a resume?
First and foremost, I would strongly advise against colored paper or scented paper.
Scented.
Do not use scented paper, no.
Is this an allergen issue? What's going on with this?
No. Actually, we're not on Legally Blonde, which, by the way, is a great movie by Reese Witherspoon.
And Reese is definitely a cutie.
She is, indeed. But you need to treat your resume like a professional business document. And as such, colored paper, crazy paper, completely out of the question. Do not do it.
Talk a little bit about the fonts. I mean, people in today's day and age, there's fonts for everything.
Yes, there are. I would strongly advise against using crazy or funky fonts.
Yep.
I would leave the Comic Sans font for your evites, your personal invitations.
No web dings on there, no smiley faces?
No smiley faces, no tickles or pokes, those kinds of things. I would say you could venture out from the New Times Roman or Arial. I strongly recommend using the Bookman font. It's a personal favorite of mine. Bookman is great, but I would say treat your resume like a business document.
Well, moving right along, we talked a little bit. So far in review, no scented paper, no funky fonts. What's the number one? This thing seems so obvious to me, this number one, and why don't you just jump right in and talk about it?
Don't lie.
Don't lie.
Do not lie on your resume. Don't do it. It's going to be tempting. People are going to...
How about exaggerating? Is it exaggerating?
Embellishing. People are going to encourage you to embellish, maybe stretch the truth a little bit. I would strongly advise against doing that, and the reason I would say that is, at some point, you're going to have to defend that document, you're going to have to talk intelligently about that document, and as you create a web of lies, it's just tough to stay on top of it. So an experienced recruiter, an experienced hiring manager is going to ask you a lot of tough questions about the stuff that's on your resume, and you're going to really have to be able to give detailed answers.
That reminds me of one of our other segments we did, the behavioral-based interviewing, which talks about driving into that. So if you're interested, you might want to watch that, because it kind of speaks about why you shouldn't lie.
Right.
Go ahead. So jumping right all over you, moving into the things I should do.
Exactly.
When I'm putting in my resume, what should I have on my resume?
Well, first and foremost, I would say more is better.
Okay.
Especially in today's business climate, where the electronic resume is the accepted form of business currency. I would say 2 pages is acceptable, and in some occupations, specifically engineering occupations, jobs where you've had a lot of project management experience, 3 pages is not out of the norm. 2 pages being a summary of your experience, and the 3rd page an addendum outlining your project experience.
But if I'm a freshman coming out of college,
1 page.
1 page.
All right. Page. And oh, by the way, nobody cares about the fact that you were the rush chairman or the social chairperson for your fraternity or sorority.
That's interesting.
The fact you were in an organization, I think, is notable, but that you held offices, nobody cares.
Okay, and that's interesting. So, so speaking about nobody cares, that kind of drives into the number 2 thing that you should do. And what is that? What should we be doing here?
I would say find a third party or an objective person. Not everyone has access, I understand, to a HR person or to a recruiter or somebody of that nature, but find a third party who's going to shoot you straight, who's going to tell you how it is, who's going to be able to proofread it for you.
Not hurt your feelings.
Not hurt your feelings, but again, you really want to find someone who's going to be objective.
Right.
To provide you feedback.
And this is a job search. I mean, they're looking for someone who's perfect for the organization or would likely fit into an organization. So I guess that type of communication and objectivity is really important.
Indeed.
That's very good. And the number 1 thing, this is actually some great advice. I thought we almost should start off with this, but why don't you step right into this?
Sure.
This is interesting.
I would say the number 1 thing that most people don't do, and they really ought to do, and if I was going to give advice to anybody writing a resume, tie your achievements to business results. It's the number 1 thing people fail to do. If something's going to go down on your resume, think about how it impacted the business. And I usually advise people to think in these terms: money saved, money earned. So if a project